In the quiet moments of life, anxiety often speaks the loudest. It whispers that you are alone. It tells you that nobody understands your pain. It tries to convince you that the future is dark and uncertain. But tonight, before fear takes control of your heart, remember this: God has never abandoned you. Not once, not for a single second. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Even when you cannot feel Him, God is near. Many people smile during the day while secretly fighting battles in silence at night. Anxiety has a way of making small problems feel enormous. It steals sleep. It steals peace. It fills the mind with endless what-if questions. What if things never get better? What if I fail? What if everyone leaves me? What if I end up completely alone? But fear does not come from God. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." The voice of anxiety says, "You are trapped," but the voice of God says, "You are protected." The voice of fear says, "You are forgotten." But God says, "I have called you by name. You are mine." You may feel weak today. You may feel exhausted from carrying invisible pain, but your struggle does not make you less valuable. Your anxiety does not define your identity. Some of the strongest people are those who continue moving forward while silently fighting storms nobody else can see. Right now, there are people listening to this who feel emotionally tired, people who feel disconnected, people who feel surrounded by others yet deeply lonely inside. And loneliness can be terrifying. Sometimes the hardest part is not the noise of life, but the silence after everyone leaves. The empty room, the unanswered messages, the feeling that nobody truly understands your heart. But hear this clearly: being alone is not the same as being abandoned. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." God stays. People may walk away, seasons may change, relationships may fail, but God remains constant through every storm. Even in your darkest nights, heaven is still watching over you. Maybe you've been pretending to be okay for a long time. Maybe you laugh in front of others while secretly crying inside. Maybe your heart is tired from overthinking every detail of your future. Anxiety makes the future feel heavy before it even arrives. But Jesus spoke directly to worried hearts. Matthew 6:34 says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. God never asked you to carry tomorrow all at once. Right now, breathe. Slow down. You survived every difficult day that once felt impossible. And with God beside you, you will survive this season too. Sometimes healing does not happen instantly. Sometimes God heals people slowly, gently, step by step. And that does not mean your faith is weak. Even Elijah, one of the greatest prophets in the Bible, experienced fear and emotional exhaustion. Even David cried out in loneliness. Even faithful people struggled emotionally. Your pain does not scare God. He understands every tear you never explained to anyone else. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Every silent cry matters to Him. And maybe tonight, what you need most is not a perfect answer, but peace. Not the kind of peace the world gives, but the kind of peace that remains even when life feels uncertain. John 14:27 says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." God's peace is stronger than panic, stronger than overthinking, stronger than fear. The storm around you may continue for a while, but the storm inside you can become calm again. There are moments when anxiety makes you feel like nobody notices your suffering, but God notices. always. He notices the nights you stay awake. He notices the moments you feel emotionally drained. He notices the battles happening silently inside your mind. And he is not disappointed in you for struggling. You do not need to hide your weakness from God. Bring him your fear. Bring him your exhaustion. Bring him your loneliness. Prayer is not about sounding perfect. It is about being honest. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is simply, God, I need you, and he hears it. Isaiah 41:10 says, So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. Notice that God does not only promise answers, he promises his presence, and his presence changes everything. The truth is, your story is not over yet. This anxious season is not your final chapter. This loneliness is not permanent. This pain will not last forever. There are still beautiful moments waiting ahead of you. There are still prayers that will be answered. There are still blessings you cannot see yet. One day you will look back and realize that God was carrying you through every moment you thought you would break. So tonight, do not give up. Do not let fear convince you that your life has no purpose. Do not let anxiety convince you that hope is gone. You are still here for a reason. God is still writing your story. And even now, while you listen to these words, he is working in ways you cannot yet understand. Romans 8:38-39 says, For I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor anything else in all creation, will be able to separate us from the love of God. Nothing can separate you from his love. Not anxiety, not fear, not loneliness, not your past, not your failures. You are deeply loved by God. And if your heart feels heavy tonight, let this be your reminder. You are not fighting alone. You are not forgotten. And you are never beyond God's reach. Better days are coming. Peace is coming. Healing is coming. Keep trusting him, one step at a time.